Hey there, Ben Catania. Just wanted to make this quick video lesson just to show you what I feel is the very best exercise you can do to finally just learn all the notes on the fretboard. It's a super powerful exercise, and if you do it and you do it diligently, you'll just have instant recollection of what every note and every position is. Now, will it help you learn all the theory and all the scales and you can improvise and put it all together? No, that's not the point of this. The point of this is just to know the notes on the fretboard. So then when you start learning some theory, if you choose to go down that route, you want to learn your modes and scales and all that kind of stuff, you can just see where the notes are and you can start to put them together. And then you won't be so stuck in just one box. If you know the notes, if you know, for example, that G mixolydian is G to G with no flats or sharps, you'll just see all those natural notes on the fretboard. Let's get to it. So when I learned this exercise, it was on a classical guitar, and there were a couple of rules. One was no notes above the 12th fret. And I found that after I learned everything from up until the fret 12, I just by default knew everything above, just because you add 12 to everything. So if you want to violate that rule, feel free. The second rule was no open strings. So if you're playing the note A, instead of playing it on the 5th string open, you would play it at the 12th fret. All right? Okay, so to the exercise. Choose a scale. Let's just start with C major. It's always the best, no flats or sharps. You don't have to remember the key signature or anything. Just get the natural notes first. So C major. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna play every note of the scale on every string. And then you're gonna go through the whole scale like that. So you're gonna play 6 C's, 6 D's, 6 E's, and on and on and on. So the C, for example, is gonna look like this. If you don't know where a C is on your 6th string, Google fretboard diagram, notes on guitar fretboard, and at least learn the notes on the 6th string, or at least have an idea of how to hunt and peck and find it. But after you do that, you'll know that the C is on the 8th fret of the 6th string. You do that, you find the C on the 5th string. You can do this in any way. Look at a fretboard chart, or you can just hunt and peck. You'll find that it's at the 3rd fret on the 5th string. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna practice just going back and forth between these without hunting and pecking, just going straight from the 8 to the 3. And then, when you're comfortable with that, you add the 4th string. It happens to be at the 10th fret. You know this one, now you practice this, getting up there. Add the 3rd string note, C, it's at the 5th fret. Good. Add the 2nd string C, that's at the 1st fret. If you want to break the rule, you could do it at the 13th fret. I always do it at the 1st fret. And then finally the 1st string. The 1st string is pretty easy because the 6th string and the 1st string are a couple octaves apart, but it's the same note. So C at the 8th fret. All right, so then once you get it, it's going to look and sound like this. Then you're going to do that for D, you're going to do that for E, you're going to go through the whole scale that way. Now, the beauty of this exercise is that because you're doing such the big jumps, you have to look with your eyes to where your finger's gonna go. So that means if you can look at that 3rd fret, that means you really have it up here. You're not just moving your fingers down because you know it's down here and you whip your hands down here and you hope it lands on the right fret. No, You practice and you know that's at the 3rd fret. Now you know it's at the 10th fret. You look at it to direct your hand to the 10th fret. Now I'm looking at the 5th fret. I'm looking at the 1st fret. I'm looking at the 8th fret. Okay? And you take as much time as you need between those. Because what you don't want to do is hunt and peck. Oh, I think it's right here. Oh, no, is it here? Oh, there it's... There you're just practicing getting close, but you're not practicing just knowing exactly where it is. You have to first find it and then just practice going back and forth and look. And take all the time you need. If you have to think about things a little bit and say, where was that again? Okay, I knew that, yeah, 10, and then find it again. There's a couple things that you can do to find these notes. I like to know the octave shapes. So for example, this is an octave. So if I know that the C is on the 10th fret, or I'm sorry, 8th fret of the 6th string, I know that 2 strings higher on the 4th string at the 10th fret, that's an octave. So I know that C is there. So if I know this part, in my mind's eye, I can say, oh, where was that C again? Darn it. Well, I knew that it was 8th fret, and I can imagine my fingers, so I know that that octave, that's at 10th fret, like that. The same octave shape is on strings 5 and 3. So if you know that that 5th string 3rd fret is a C, then that 5th fret 3rd string is a C. It's kind of a flip there. So now you know there, 10, where was that again? Well, I knew where that one C is, and that's the octave. There you go. This octave shape is an important one, like straight from a C chord. That's between the 5th and the 2nd string. All right, so that's always an octave. This is, if you, of course, again, it kind of breaks my rules. I never go between above the 12th fret, but if you chose to, this on strings 4 and 2, 3 frets apart on those ones, that's an octave, and the same applies on strings 3 and 1. That's an octave shape too. So I use octaves a lot, of course, as mentioned before, between 6 and 1. So I used those a lot when I was learning, when I was practicing this exercise a lot way back in high school. And to find where that next note is. And then once I knew where it is, I would practice going straight to it. Taking as much time as I need to look with my eyes and figure it out with my eyes and then direct my hand there. Once you're feeling good about that, you got to break out the metronome, something that's just going to click. So I don't have a metronome handy here, so I'm just going to kind of fake one by tapping my foot and saying click. But let's say I set it at whatever this number is. What's that? I always do for CPR. Another one bites the dust. I'm a cynic. They say if you're an optimist, when you're doing CPR, you need to do it 100 beats a minute. You do staying alive. And if you're a cynic, then you do another one bites the dust. I guess I'm a cynic because I was thinking another one bites the dust. But nevertheless, that, bump, click, 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 click. A little fast. You don't have to go. You can go at any speed that's comfortable, but just some kind of time restriction so that you really have to think fast and get it. And if you have to just practice between 2 notes that you're comfortable with, that's fine. But if you can get through the whole thing, that's nice. Okay, I'm gonna try C and I'm gonna keep going and just try and do the whole scale. 1, 2, ready, go. D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So that's what the complete exercise would look like. Do that, and if that gets easy, go over 1 on the, either way, either clockwise on the circle of fifths, so do G major with G to G with an F sharp. So then you're reviewing 6 of those notes and then learning the F sharp. or go counterclockwise, do your cycle of fourths and do F major. So there you do F to F with the B flat. So it doesn't matter either way, but you introduce the next key with like one note difference. You're reviewing those notes, one note different, and then you just kind of move your way. I made my way all through the circle of fifths, and then I did some extra stuff too. But by the time I got to that point, I knew the fretboard really well. So now, when you tell me a key, whether it's a major, minor, mode, whatever, it's kind of like those old guitars that I used to see advertised in magazines when I was a kid, that had like knobs with all the keys, and it had lights at every fret. You turn it on and all the lights go doop, and you can just kind of see where all the lights are. That's kind of what I see in my mind's eye when someone says, okay, this tune is in D major, all the natural notes except F sharp and C sharp light up. So then I kind of see them all, and then the scale shapes I practice and all that stuff. All right, so have fun with this exercise. It can be a very frustrating thing, but if you just, what I would do then is just set a timer. Just do like 5 minutes a day, and just really kind of work on it. And over time, it's gonna really unlock the whole fretboard. And you'll start to see all kinds of patterns and everything. I'm not gonna discuss those. I'll let you discover your own system for making it make sense. But practice this diligently, and I guarantee you will know the fretboard down pat. You'll just know where they all are. All right, have fun. Till next time. See ya.